Time Magazine has just recently announced the Pope as Person of the Year. Now, this is, of course, a controversial choice, as there are actually many different runner-ups to Person of the Year, including Miley Cyrus, which astounds me, blows my mind, because, like, how is she influential at all? Then, of course, you had Ted Cruz, Bashar al-Assad, of course, dictator of Syria, Edith Windsor. She helps to get rid of the Defense of Marriage Act, also very important. And, of course, we had Edward Snowden, NSA whistleblower. So those are the people, some of the people that were in the contention for getting Person of the Year, and of course Time Magazine named the Pope. And I guess what I want to ask the panel is, do you agree with this decision, and why or why not?
I get that the Pope he's definitely one of the better popes I've heard of in a very long time. He's far more progressive than most popes I've heard of, but compared to what like Edward Snowden has done, all the reveals that he has given, it seemed like they made a very safe choice with the Pope, and I kind of don't like that.
Well, despite me being an Irishman, I'm not a Catholic man, so I'm gonna have to vote no on the Pope. Like I don't see the appeal, and I wouldn't have even picked this Pope. I think the last Pope stepping down, allowing this one to come to power, had way more impact on this one than this guy did, just changing the way he talks.
Right.
But Snowden would have been a good choice. But I think there's two like rationales. One is there's a lot of Catholics, and there's not that many people who pay attention to the news, so people wouldn't know Snowden as well as they would know the Pope. But then that would be the reason to kind of put him on the cover of Time Magazine and do a profile about him.
Right.
So, like, to me, it's more like they wanted to do a safe choice. Everybody's in love with this Pope. Like, they all want to make out with him. Like, he's talking about like inequality and all that stuff. Like, I just don't find it that interesting because I'm not exactly sure what this Pope's powers are.
Right.
Like why it should matter, because I'm just not a Catholic or a religious person.
You said something about impact earlier, right, Sean? And I think this decision has a lot to do with how they choose the Person of the Year, and they choose people on if they had a significant impact, for better or worse. So it's more of like a notoriety thing, like how well are you known, how much of an impact have you made? And so I disagree with the whole Pope thing, just because while his rhetoric is awesome and he is a progressive Pope, he really hasn't done anything other than said things. And I'll go into that later, but Marcus, go ahead and jump in.
Oh no, I just wanted to clarify. It's refreshing to hear a Pope who I believe is in tune with the needs of the people, just compared to what Edward Snowden has done this year and the ramifications that has had in terms of our politics, in terms of what we've known about the NSA. It just bewilders me why they'd have to go with the Pope when Edward Snowden would have been, in my mind, the clearer choice for me personally.
Right, and I agree with you both when you both point out that this is really a safe choice. Right. This is Time saying we're going to go with, somebody who's more popular, because right. The Pope Francis has been taking a very populist tone, and that's why I like him, and that's why a lot of people like him. I've done stories where I said, yeah, I absolutely love the stuff that the Pope is saying. But I think he's sending a lot of good imagery, but once again, it's not Person of the Year. It's more theater and more imagery than substance, as opposed to Edward Snowden, which actually, when you look at what Edward Snowden did, he gave up his, six-figure income. He gave up his hot girlfriend living in Hawaii to go and release this information, and now he's being hunted by the most powerful nation on earth.
Right.
Right.
The thing is about the Pope is and it's important for people to realize he's saying different things. Like, he's not actually changing any policy, or he's not like that Pope who I believe was in the 60s. I think this is one of the ones that got killed. Like, who actually like modernized the Catholic Church. He like moved them ahead into like the normal world, or at least closer to the normal world, because the current right. Catholic Church is way more modern than the church of the past, right? So popes can move like things forward on those issues. and he's really just like talking different, and he's some of his actions like they're symbolic actions. Like
Hmm.
he doesn't wear a big golden cross; he wears an iron cross because he's like, why should I be, why should I have all this money around my neck when people can't eat? Like some of his actions are good,
Right,
but
like getting rid of that golden throne and instead using like a wooden throne, and getting rid of the Pope Mobile and driving something a lot more like a Mazda or something. I get that;
but
those are good actions. But
but
as far
they're
as
they're they're symbolic.
yeah,
He's not like I haven't seen him like I remember the worst like I'm gonna say the worst thing that Pope Benedict did, even though the worst thing that he did probably has to do with the molestation scandal. But one
yeah,
of the worst like most gratuitous things that Pope Benedict did was he went to Africa and he told people who like it was a section of Africa, I forgot where it was, that had a big problem with AIDS, and he told them not to use condoms or else they'll go to hell. Like, where is this Pope gonna
That's
go and say,
wow.
like, that's perfectly fine? You know what I mean? Maybe you should not, like, get sick. Like, where is this Pope on that? Like, he's saying, oh, we shouldn't talk about these issues, but I want to see, like, change. And I don't think he's gonna really deliver that because he's not changing anything um, substantive. He's almost like Obama. He's like a facelift, but it's like continuity of agenda.
right, exactly. And actually, just recently on the subject of abortion, Pope Francis had actually urged a group of gynecologists to refuse to perform abortions. And that was one day after saying, hey, we're focusing way too much on abortion. So while I like the Pope for what he's saying, his actions don't exactly mesh up with what he's been saying. There's been no policy changes. And, even when it comes to the sex scandals and stuff, he's not going after those people. The Vatican isn't going back after those people with the vigor that they should. And that's
Wow.
a major problem.
Right.
And
Change on
that's a
the
major
outside,
issue.
continuity on the inside. Again.
Right, and then again, look. To be fair to the Pope, since like I said, I do like him, and I'm gonna try and be fair to him. He hasn't been in long enough to try and effect any change. Maybe he's trying to do it over a long period of time, and maybe that's the case. So,
And,
but
and the last pope to actually make change did get killed. Like like I don't want to get into like conspiratorial nature, but like he did get killed. Like so I get that that's probably like it's I don't know. It's just he's I think people are overrating what the Pope did, especially when you compare it to Snowden like releasing all this information. And honestly,
and stuff keeps
like
coming out, and stuff that Snowden basically took from the NSA files and everything. It keeps getting released day by day, week by week. A new revelation comes out into how we're being monitored and spied on, and that makes so much more of an impact than even some of the gestures that seem really good, like him, washing the feet of a Muslim person, which is one of those things that seems really kind of like reaching across the sort of
right.
religious divide. It seems like it would be
But
a
those
really
those
powerful
are all
symbolic
those
message.
are all like
It's all
substantive.
symbols, though.
Yeah, they're not substantive. They're just nice images. But the thing a lot of people are gonna be like, oh, who don't understand the man of the year are gonna be like, oh, well, Snowden is controversial, and the Pope,
That's
everybody loves the Pope.
exactly why he should
But
be. In
but
fact,
we got to remember third on the list or close to third on the list was Bashar Assad.
right.
And nobody like it's not about who's good or who's bad. It's supposed to be the most impactful. And
Hmm.
and right now we have like the media actually worried about the NSA like to some extent. Like we have like I remember like it was something like 30 or 40 journalists or publications sent a letter telling the NSA to stop. Like now people have standing or they have the what could lead to standing in
Right.
order to sue and get this heard in an actual court. Like there's actual impact, and I know it's very American centric, but like there's actual impact from Snowden, and like the Pope is more like a symbol, which is obvious because the Pope is a symbol. Like it's not really like powerful.
Well, there is actually standing overseas as well, because remember, the NSA has been spying on world leaders as well and other countries, and they're not exactly happy when it comes to that. But back to the point you made about choices, the the controversial choices, you got to remember some of the choices for those honored in the past include people like Hitler
Right.
and
Right.
Stalin on there twice, Khrushchev, Ayatollah Khomeini. So we've had a lot of controversial runners-up to this person of the year because of how much they changed it. It's not a popularity contest. It's not about who is more important. It's about what kind of change, whether good change or bad change, they've affected in the world. And so that's why I think that this Pope, the decision to do the Pope, to name the Pope the person of the year, is just absolutely wrong, and it should have went to Edward Snowden.
And above the Pope, I would have put Dennis Rodman. Because he met the North Korean, he met the new North. I'm actually being serious. He met the new North Korean dictator, like
The
before.
legendary Dennis Rodman.
I'm serious. Like he was the first American to go meet the first the North Korean dictator. I would have put the North Korean dictator above him, since we're not doing the most like awesome person. We're doing the most impactful person.
You actually make a really good point, and I hate that because I hate it because I didn't think about it. And now that you brought it up, I'm like, damn it. I do agree. They should have been on the list. You know who shouldn't have been on the list? Miley freaking Cyrus. What did she do?
She twerked.
She's a wrecking ball.
She's the wrecking ball. Yeah, wrecking ball.
She twerks for the nation. Whatever that. Lord.
All right. So now that we pretty much all agree that Edward Snowden should have been person of the year. Any idea of what you would have as a runner-up? Just being curious.
If I had to do a runner-up, God, I don't know if this happened this year, but there was I don't know if she was Iranian, a Middle Eastern young girl who was shot in the head, and she survived, and she was really inspirational. I don't know if that happened this year.
Malala Yousafzai.
That's her name.
Malala. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good choice.
That is
that
a
would
good
be my
choice.
runner-up.
That's a really good choice.
See, that's why we have to have new panelists on, because I never even thought, I didn't even think of that. That's actually a really good
new
choice.
Perspective. I love it.
Because she was like a 9-year-old or a 10-year-old.
Exactly. It's absolutely amazing.
She stood up to the
she
man.
gets shot in the face, and then she goes and tells Obama, "Hey, quit droning us.
Right.
You're not helping."
It's inspirational.
It's incredible. It's incredible.
And honestly, the thing is, time could always cop out like every year and pick like the president.
Yeah.
Right. Like they could do that. Like they could do that like every year and pick the president, or if the speakership changes or the leader of the Senate changes. Like they could do something like lame like that. It's just, and this actually feels like kind of a cop out because it's the new Pope.
It is.
And I remember one of the funniest things of watching the Pope, become inaugurated. I don't know if that's the right word.
I have no idea.
Was Jank saying, like, I bet you if you walked up to anybody in that crowd and asked them to tell you one thing about that guy, other than the fact that he's the new Pope, nobody would know. And they're like screaming and like celebrating.
It's like a Bieber concert.
Right.
Pretty much.
Which is really sad. But anyway, my runner-up, Ted Cruz. No, not kidding. Not Ted Cruz.
Oh, I was like, oh.
Not Ted Cruz. Before you said Malala, because that would actually be a really good, like it's tied between now Malala and Edith Windsor, because I think getting rid of the Defense of Marriage Act is actually a really, really huge thing, because then it allows states to decide whether or not they will allow gay marriage, and there's been quite a few states that have actually done so. So I think that's a really big change. So it would be either...
What a novel concept, states' rights. Where have I heard that concept before? But I would have for the person of the year, I don't like it doesn't really matter, but it's more of like the media like that this tells you more about, that they don't want to pick Snowden because and meanwhile an article about Snowden would be way more interesting than an article about the Pope, because
we already have a lot of articles about the Pope.
But you could talk about how they hate him, or how people hate him, or maybe he's a traitor, which he's not, and all these interesting.
Sure hate him.
And the thing is, I remember what my thought was: Ted Cruz should not be on that list. Ted Cruz did a fake,
Agreed.
not real filibuster. Like,
It was a failbuster.
but compare Ted Cruz's fake, not real, intentionally fake and not real filibuster to Senator Paul's filibuster, which actually got the president to say he can't assassinate Americans on U.S. soil. That was an actual filibuster. Like,
When it comes
I
to filibusters, that was an actual filibuster.
like
Or even Wendy Davis and her filibuster.
Wendy Davis, a good
Wendy
example.
Davis.
Another actual filibuster.
Right. And not this fake Ted Cruz failbusters. Hey, thanks for watching this video. Please leave a comment below. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the like button and share with your friends. If you want to see more, go to our channel at youtube.com/TYTNation. And if you really want to support the show, support this channel, go to our fundraising campaign at www.patreon.com/TYTNation. The website is in the description below. Thank you guys, and keep watching.